Live from Bennigan's Restaurant, Ohio Valley Sports Online presents High School Coaches Shows. Our lineup for this evening is 6 o'clock, Steubenville Big Reds Reno Succosh at 6:30. Indian Creek's Andrew Connor, followed up at 7 o'clock by Toronto's Josh Frankie. Eric Meek from Steubenville Catholic Central joins us at 7:30, and Mike Colopy from Edison will be here at 8 o'clock. And welcome to Bennigan's, everyone. Jim Huggins, Dan Vogel on the controls. Ray Suckosh sitting in tonight along with Coach Sack. And Coach off to a good start. We're on the road at New Philadelphia, always a tough place to go to, and you kind of out with a pretty dominant effort, especially on the defensive side, getting a shutout.
We had a great day. Just overall, the trip was good. We thought the trip was going to be a little bit hard to do, but it was nice. It was a smooth trip, even though we had some detours, and it was a nice ride back. We got home at 11:15. That really surprised me.
Hey, before we go any further, we had something made for you. And we know, I see you down on the sidelines have a towel on your shoulder a lot. So we had something made for you in honor of your victory last week.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
That's nice.
Yeah?
You spelled my name right, Reno.
I didn't take a shot at the last name. So.
Thank you. I bet Dan did that. Dan's the only guy of all you guys that has a real kind heart. Now, you're nice guys, but Dan's kind-hearted.
Dan doesn't. Who had to order and who had to go pick it up? Dan forgets a lot of stuff.
On purpose. He relies on you guys. He's too busy making $1 million selling them phones.
I know, and phones are ridiculous.
Them overpriced phones.
Pay $1,500 for a phone, for Pete's sake. All right, let's talk about the ball game itself. What was it like going into Quaker Stadium? I know they had to be fired up because they always enjoy the rivalry with you guys, and for you guys to score pretty early and stuff kind of probably took their crowd out. What was that like?
I was surprised to see that we were one game down in the series, but looking back, in the 20s, they beat us a few times, and they've beaten us twice. I think they've beaten us 2 out of 6 times lately. But it's a good rivalry, and I don't know how long it's going to continue because of the league they got into. But we enjoy playing the game, and hopefully their coaches and kids enjoy playing the game.
Big plays offensively with 11:16 left to go in the second. Peyton Hill hits Isaac Hill with a 38-yard touchdown pass and catch, and nice job by Hill to take the ball away from the Quaker defensive guy, and that was a good way to get started off.
Yeah, Peyton has confidence in all his receivers, and in that play we've worked on quite a bit. And it was underthrown a little bit, but the thing is, he saw the matchup, and he just gave Isaac a shot at making a play, and Isaac made the play.
Able to get something going too on the running game. Spencer Ostovich had a pretty good night and then had a 6-yard touchdown run. And when you get up a score or two on a team on the road, it kind of takes away that home field advantage for them because you've taken your crowd out of the game because you're dominating that. But it seemed like everything was kind of working pretty good for you offensively.
Well, we used 4 tailbacks in that game, and I thought all of them added something to the game. They're all different, but they all added something to the game. We play 3 fullbacks, and I think maybe that might be a little bit of the problem with our passing game. Maybe we're playing too many different people, but we just want to, we just want to keep our players playing, keep our players fresh, and I feel that's really helping us. And we only have one offensive lineman right now that plays on defense for us, and that's Harper. So we're just trying to get as many kids as we can playing, and I think in the long run it's going to help us out. Right now it might be a problem, but I think we will adjust to it, and the attitude that our players have and the attitude they practice with, I think will continue to carry on into the game.
That's what I was going to ask you about, Coach, about you're playing a lot of kids, and that seems to make them practice harder too because they feel that they're going to get a shot, and And it's early in the season anyway.
Yeah, it's early in the season, and especially on Saturday. On Saturday, we will keep doing what we're doing right now as far as rotation. We might change the rotation a little bit, but we'll keep the same players playing. Only we'll try to package them into the same groups so they're all in at the same time with the same guys. You know, us three, and then those three, and those three, and a fullback and a tailback together all the time. We'll try to match them up like that. I think that'll help us out. But we just want to stay. We want to keep our maybe 12 or 13 guys defensively, and hopefully we can get about 27 or 28 guys playing on offense. And I think that'll help us because they have a couple two-way players, and when they do sub, I think there's I think in high school, I'm not talking about any other level, but in high school, very seldom is your second line as good as your first line.
Yeah.
Your second line might be good enough, but it's not as good. So that's why we're trying to mix and match, and hopefully it pays off in the long run.
Let's talk a little bit more about your line. I mean, you got a veteran crew up there with Cam Daly and others, but you averaged 5 yards per carry running the football. And
actually, we're averaging 6.7 yards a carry.
Yeah, and
running the ball
in the game the other night, and you protected Hill 14 out of 21 passing. So, talk a little bit of what they've been able to accomplish so far in these first couple of ball games for you.
Well, we played from tackle to tackle. There's five offensive linemen. We've been playing 8 offensive linemen. So the only constant has been our center. Well, we haven't messed around with the center because we feel that Marshall and Hill are really working well together, and we don't want to change that. But we have 2 guys playing left guard, 2 guys playing right guard, and we're working with 3 tackles, and I think that's really going to help us in the long run. And the main thing that coach keeps preaching to them is staying square on pass protection. And that's what we've been working on the most, the hardest. And when you pull, make sure you know when you're looking inside, and make sure you know when who's looking outside. So that's really important for pullers, especially for the guard coming through, than the fullback coming through. So that guard's got to look inside, the fullback's got to look outside, and hopefully our tailback can split that seam.
It seems like you finished most of your drive. I mean, you didn't have a single punt all night Friday night, which is pretty good when you go a whole game without a punt. So you're able to, have a pretty good spot there. But defensively, with the shutout now, back-to-back shutouts, what are you doing defensively that's allowed you to dominate the 2 teams you've played so far on the defensive side?
We've kept our secondary. We've had 5 guys playing 4 positions. And inside linebacker, we've been using 3 inside linebackers and 3 outside linebackers, but we've been using 6 or 7 defensive linemen. And we've been doing a pretty good job with the pass rush because of our line being fresh. And there might be a drop-off, but if a kid's played 10 or 11 snaps in a row, his 70% is not going to match a guy a little bit not as good as him going 100%. So we feel that we will keep alternating those 3 interior linemen and just have a 3rd guy ready at each other position. So defensively, we've been doing a good job of getting pressure on the quarterback with 3 or 4 guys. Last year we end up sending 5 or 6, and that just kills you in the secondary. But we feel that's the part. Well, the 2 parts we wanted to improve on the most this year was our kickoff team and a broken play by the quarterback. Mm-hmm. So hopefully we haven't been tested yet with open quarterbacks, but like the quarterback this week is a different style runner. He's 6'4", 282 pounds. So although he may run the ball, he's not going to be elusive. He might run a couple guys over, but he's not an elusive type of quarterback. So we're just trying. That's our main goal. The third thing we wanted to do was we wanted to improve on 3rd and long. And hopefully we've done a better job with 3rd and long. But 3rd and long is very important because we feel like we get a good rush. If you have a good first down, that's a key. Whether you're on offense or defense, that 1st and 10 is a key play, and we've been doing pretty good with that play.
Coach, you mentioned the kickoff team. You got a freshman kicker, and he seems to be getting the ball deep, getting his foot into it better than in years past. I know that.
Well, he's kicked a couple in the end zone, but and I like that. Don't get me wrong, but it's more important that if he kicks the line drive in the end zone, that's beautiful. But I think the most important thing, and I think both kickers understand it, because I think we have two pretty good kickers, is we want that ball as high first, high first, distance second, because height allows you to get down under the kick, and the second thing we wanted outside the hash. We don't want the ball in the middle, to the middle of the field. We want it outside the hash, so we're only defending 34 yards instead of 52 yards.
Right.
So we want the ball. The ideal part is to kick it to the number, like the G on the goal line or the 10 on the 10-yard line. Kick it. That would be a perfect kick, even if it was to the 10 or 15 or 20-yard line, because if it's high enough, we'll get under it and keep them inside the 25.
Last year you did a lot of kickoffs that seemed like they were placement kicks, trying to kick them high, fair catches, kind of thing where there wouldn't be any kind of returns, but you gave up some little bit of field position. What's it been like the difference this year? Now that you have a guy that can possibly get the ball down to the goal line.
Well, you see the difference. I mean, it helps the kickoff team, and it gives the kickoff team more enthusiasm. They know that they know their job. We've changed our kickoff team 1,000%. Coach Arlesik's put a net in on the kickoff team. We try to execute the net, and we got that from Ohio State. When their coach came recruiting, he sat down and talked with us for a few hours about the kickoff team, and we've been working on that since early July.
What is that, Coach? You said the net. Will explain that to us.
Well, every guy the kickoff team has a point to get to on the kicker and on the kick return guy. And, if everybody hits their aiming point, then we should force him to run straight ahead and not laterally. And if he does run laterally, then we should be able to set that edge. Just like on defense, you want to set the edge and don't let him bounce that out. We want that field to be from the hash mark to the sideline, which is 35 yards, and it's 17 to third each hash, and that's what we want to play. We want to keep that net inside there.
What were you most impressed with on Friday night? When I'm looking at stats, the thing that I was most impressed with, looking at that and not being at the game, is the fact that you held them to 78 total yards in an entire football.
The thing I was most impressed with defensively was first down. And
they only got 5.
The second thing, first and 10. I know they only got 5, but we did a good job on first down, and I thought that was important. And the second thing that I really liked was after the penalty, and they got the ball first down on the 22-yard line, I think it was, we kept them out of the end zone. And they got in the red zone twice, and we kept them out twice. So that's 5 entries into the red zone in 2 games, and we've kept them out. So that's what I like the best about the defense on Friday night. The best thing I liked about the offense was, and I think that we showed them and emphasized it at the film Saturday, our opening kickoff for the second half, we didn't have one penalty, and we just drove right down the field. I mean, it was we didn't have to recover. The other 2 touchdowns, we had to recover on 3 penalties on one of them and 4 penalties on the other. Now, I know we scored, but still we had to recover penalties, and that just happened to get those yards twice. So that wasn't good. But our players know that if we stay focused and just everybody just does what they're told to do, then it's gonna work out fine. And we didn't do everything perfect, but I like the way the quarterback kept everybody on the same page. And every game we're going to get better at that. Mm-hmm. And so if we can just get 1 or 2 guys at a time on the same page, then we're going to be fine.
I think that's saying a lot, Coach, that you say your quarterback's keeping everybody on the same page just for the mere fact that you're playing so many guys.
Yeah, and I'm not saying he's playing perfect, but he's playing the way I want him to play, and you know, like I tell our players, you know, a lot of people say get to the next play. Well, that's true, but don't learn something from the last play. Even if you made a mistake, you want to get to the next play, but don't get to the next play saying the hell with that play because you made a mistake. Let's learn from it. And you learn a lot more from a win than you do from a loss. But if you don't learn from a loss, then what good is it? And each play is a play in itself. You win that play or you lose that play as individuals and as a group. So, you know, get to the next page and get to the next play, but learn from the last play.
First 2 weeks of the season now. You got 2 games under your belt, 1/5 of the season gone by already. It seems like it just flies by. What are the things that you're, first of all, most happy with your team, and then after that, things that you still feel is a work in progress or needs to continue to get better?
Well, I'm happy with the effort and enthusiasm. And I don't care how good we were, we still want to get better. So getting better is no question. But I'm really happy with the effort that we give, as far as, you know, playing as hard as we can play every snap. And, you know, like I tell them the first day, we don't want to coach effort. We'll coach everything else, but we don't want to coach effort. Mm-hmm. And so the effort's been there, even on bad plays, good plays, bad passes, drop passes, bad runs, whatever, bad tackles, missed tackles. The enthusiasm has been there, and you can. I mean, great things can be done with enthusiasm. You know, you don't have to be a great athlete to be an enthusiastic, hard-working player, and there's room for everybody that can do that. And then the second thing that I'm most pleased with is the way we're coaching our groups. Each coach is taking it personal, and like I said, when I wrote them a letter last week, our players a letter last week, we wanted to improve as a group. And, you know, the offensive line, defensive line, the running backs, the receivers, the quarterback, and timing up, you know, the defensive line, the linebackers, the secondary. Each one of those groups, them and their coach, worked very hard to improve. And I thought that we did improve, but, you know, no matter how good you are, you got to keep improving, because you're either getting better or you're getting worse. You're never staying the same.
Mm-hmm. The Radio Succotash Coaches Show is being brought to you by Fort Steuben Maintenance. Let's take a time out here from Bennigan's, and when we come back, we'll talk to Coach about this coming opponent on Saturday.
Got a sidewalk that needs replaced, or maybe your roof is leaking? How about some new windows? Who do you call? Fort Steuben Maintenance, that's who. Commercial or residential, they can handle most any project, big or small. They also do new construction and renovations. So get a free estimate by calling Fort Steuben Maintenance today and get them started on your next project. 740-283-4890 for Fort Steuben Maintenance. Thanks a lot for following us at Ohio Valley Sports Online. Why not visit our webpage at OhioValleySportsOnline.com. It's the way to go for sports fans around the globe to follow your favorite local sports teams.
Meet Josh.
Hi, everybody.
Josh is a high school basketball player, solid shooter, great teammate.
Hey, don't forget my tenacious D.
And he's my son.
Oh.
So, what does Josh do to be the best basketball player he can be?
I play tennis.
Studies show that student athletes here in Ohio who play more than one high school sport are more likely to excel. Tennis does more than improve Josh's conditioning. It gives him a fresh competitive outlet, reduces the risk of injury by cross-training, and introduces him to different coaching techniques and new friends.
Don't get me wrong, hoops are my first love. Tennis just gives me a little break.
So when the new season begins, Josh isn't burned out on basketball. He's eager to play, and you can see the difference in his game.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Did you hire him in front of you?
You know, Fort Steuben Maintenance should be your first choice when it comes to any and all construction projects, whether it's commercial or residential. Make Fort Steuben Maintenance your first call. You can rely on them to be the experts when it comes to roofing, concrete, plumbing, carpentry, just about any job that needs done. Fort Steuben Maintenance, they're fully licensed and bonded and will even give you a free estimate. Fort Steuben Maintenance. You want the number? 740-283-4890. Want to become a sponsor of this online sports broadcast? It's easy. Look us up on Facebook under Ohio Valley Sports Online. Drop us a message right on our wall or shoot us an email. More bang for your buck. Why? Because it's not radio. It's an online internet sports broadcast with unlimited and endless potential for you. Why settle for less when you can advertise with the best? Ohio Valley Sports Online.
And I'm a Yankee fan.
I'm a Dodger fan. Welcome back, everyone, to Bennigan's with the Reno Succotash Coaches Show. And, Coach, 2 weeks are in the books, start off 2-0, and things, you mentioned schedule and stuff, things get a little tougher for Saturday. It's in a morning game, 11 a.m. against powerful Archbishop Carroll from Washington, D.C. First of all, how did this game come about?
Well, I know about 3 or 4 of those coaches there from playing Woodrow Wilson and St. John's and Dunbar. We've played them all. And they're just good, hard-working coaches. And Coach Harris he does a great job. They've won 43 of their last 47 games, and they played a tough one with Gonzaga. We played Gonzaga a couple times, so we know how good they are. Mm-hmm. And just I called them up and just told them that we needed a third game and asked them if they were open, and they happened to be open. So. We scheduled the game. They're coming in Friday. They'll practice Friday from 4:30 to 6, and then we'll kick it off Saturday morning at 11.
Why the 11 a.m. start?
Well, really, everybody thinks it was the Ohio State Notre Dame game, but I think we're more exciting than the Ohio State Notre Dame. But
right.
I'm just kidding. No,
how long is their drive?
It's a 4.5, maybe 5-hour drive, but we just talked, and he said, can we play early to get home early because they play the next Thursday. Mm-hmm. So we said, we'll play 11 o'clock, and that'll get them out of here by 1 or 1:30, and they'll get home, at a decent time. So it's going to be a great game. I mean, they have some really, really good football players.
It's going to be the 2022 Legends Night celebration. Seniors from the 1994 team will be honored. So that'll be a nice little touch there.
Oh, yeah, that was 94 team, and we'll beat the best team in the state, any division, second round of the playoffs. And we got beat by West Branch the next week. And, if anybody asks, I've coached in probably almost 500 games, but that's probably my most disappointing job as a head coach. I just feel like, you let not only players down, but you let your coaching staff down, and you let the whole city down, because we were a state championship team that year, and didn't finish it.
What can you tell us about Archbishop Carroll? We know that they have a stud that's about 6'5", 235, and being looked at major college teams.
He just decommitted from Alabama, but they have on the other side, on the other receiver, number 6. He was a track high school All-American last year, and so their speed is, they have a great amount of speed. But to tell you the truth, when they got 2 backs in the backfield, they just want to smash it down your throat.
Yeah.
And they're 359 at the center, 345 at the guard, 235 at the other guard, and 275 and 265 at the tackles. And their tight end 6'4", 225, and their quarterback 6'4", 280.
Yeah.
So he's not an elusive guy, but we're going to try to hit him and hang on and let everybody else hit him. But
so that's an interesting question itself. When you got a line that is that size and that rare, because around here you're not going to get somebody going across the line that big. How are your defenders? How are you telling your defenders this week to attack the line? You're trying to shoot gaps, trying to get angles. How do you go after these guys?
No, I think you got to mix it up. and we don't want them to know where we're lining up and where we're going to end up.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to explain it. Change it. Line up. Don't line up more than a gap away from where you got to be.
You know what I liked about is at remember years ago Massillon came here, and they were a lot bigger than you and stuff, and they were rolling over everybody.
We chaosed them.
Yeah, you had that chaos or gangster defense somewhere. Everybody was just kind of seemed like they didn't have any purpose, but it worked.
Well, our chaos now is line up where you want and get where but not more than a gap where you have to be. And so sometimes we'll look strong and or we'll look unbalanced on defense, if that makes any sense. And but we won't end up like that.
This team coming in, are they undefeated? Have they played a couple of games?
No, they're 0-1. They lost to Gonzaga last week, 34-17. And but you know about Gonzaga, they're the real deal, and it's just they just playing a good league, and like I said, they won 43 out of the last 47 games. They lost in the finals last year, and they won in the finals the year before. So it's going to be a very, very interesting, hard-hitting speed game, and you can't be physical and not fast. You can't be fast and not physical. You can't be fast and physical and not intelligent. So very few players can play with all three of those. But as a team, we have to play with all three of those.
When this team, you're looking at coming in, and you've played a lot of good teams over the years, and have had some pretty good success against most of those teams. How does this team stack up with some of the other big-name teams that have come here to Harding Stadium over the years?
I would probably there's somewhere like Elyria that we played in '91. That was a day game. There's somewhere between Elyria and I would say the Hun. The Hun had that tailback that went to North Carolina.
Yeah.
And we had a really good game against them. But they're somewhere in between that. I don't think they have the maybe the numbers that the Hun had, but the players that they have, they're good, steady football players, and they're well coached. I mean, Coach Harris does a great job. His staff does a great job, and it's just going to be a game that people are going to get their money's worth.
Early in the year, Coach, 11 o'clock game, going to be warm. Conditioning will tell the tale.
Conditioning will tell the tale. You're right, and if we're not conditioned, then that's on me. So our conditioning will tell the tale. But
I think in the past,
don't think they're not going to be conditioned. But
I think in the past, though, Big Red and your coaching staff and players have taken advantage of that situation. So let's hope for the best on that this week too.
Yeah, we got to pick our spots when we're huddling and when we're not huddling. And we got to be really smart. And, when we're in the word game, we're going quick. And we're in the number game, we're not going as quick. So, and sometimes we're between words and numbers, we're on the line. So we just got to pay attention. Mm-hmm. If it's a word, we're going on the quick. And if it's a number, every word represents a number and every number represents a word. But the snap counts with changes.
Do you have any particular preference as to what kind of pace you'll have for this game? Do you want to be a quickened pace? Do you want to take your time?
I think we got to do all three of them.
Yeah.
We got to be fast. We got to be slow. We got to be methodical. We got to do all of them. And but we got to be sharp at that. We got to be sharp at when we're doing it. We can't run ourselves in the ground. But I'm sure that on parts of the field we'll be in different modes.
Mm-hmm. Huh. What's the one thing about this team that if there's anyone
explosive?
That's just to say. What was the thing to kind of
explosive? You can hold them for 35 downs and they can score 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's the thing that you respect Dover about the most too. You can hold Dover all day, but they get those 3 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. They're getting 3 touchdowns somehow, some way. That's the same way I feel about Archbishop Carroll. They're going to get their big plays, but as long as we keep it in front of us.
Well, Coach, we appreciate the time as always coming by, and congratulations on last week's win And we got you a little gift there. And hopefully Saturday it'll be another outstanding game with the red coming out on top. We'll get a chance to talk to you next week about that. So thanks for dropping by. We'll see
Appreciate
you
your time.
Best of
you.
luck, buddy.
Thanks, Ray.
All right, let's take
Thanks.
a time out. We'll be
Dan.
back. And Dan,
Thanks.
you're going to thanks Dan?
I thank everybody. Billy, you, Coach Connor. Coach Connor had a great win last week.
Yeah.
I like when he follows me because I like ribbing him about if he's playing home this week. I mean, they went through the toughest thing 2 years ago. I mean, how do you play 8 away games with no parking when you do play at home? And they weathered the storm and made the playoffs. So.
Yeah. All right, let's take a time out. We'll be back with Indian Creek head coach Andrew Connor after these messages.
I like the way he's dressed with them pants, too.
Let me do 2 games and I'll go out, 2 interviews and I'll go.
That's what I was saying.
You know, Fort Steuben Maintenance should be your first choice when it comes to any and all construction projects, whether it's commercial or residential. Make Fort Steuben Maintenance your first call. You can rely on them to be the experts when it comes to roofing, concrete, plumbing, carpentry, just about any job that needs done. Fort Steuben Maintenance, they're fully licensed and bonded and will even give you a free estimate. Fort Steuben Maintenance. You want the number? 740-283-4890.
It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare Ohio's young people for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high schools complete education. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
More and more these days, it feels like sports are losing out to hype. Who dissed who? Who signed the fattest contract? Who got busted for cheating? Lost 2 is the unique capacity sports have to inspire us, to unite us. Well, great news, sports fans. Sports are still being played for the right reasons. They're still as entertaining as they are character building. You just have to know where to find it. And you only have to look as far as your local Ohio high school. You know, the place where the games are exciting, concessions are affordable, and the parking is free. Where the emphasis is on hustle and heart instead of hype. If you prefer real, honest-to-goodness sport played for all the right reasons, you'll find it at your hometown high school. High school sports. Games are being played this weekend at an Ohio high school near you. Okay, everybody, who's in?
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The game is over, but this time, instead of asking how many goals did you score or what were your stats, try asking these questions. Were you a good teammate? Were you coachable? Did you give 100%? And did you have fun? Because those are the values that school sports instill in Ohio's young people, where winning and losing are secondary to the life lessons that will stay with kids long after their playing days are over. This is the Ohio High School Athletic Association. Educate through sports.
Thanks, Everhart Bow Funeral Home, for sponsoring Indian Creek head coach Andrew Connor on the Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show.
Everhart Bow Funeral Home, they believe you should take care of your loved ones while you still can. Pre-planning at Everhart Bow ensures that your family won't have to worry about the stress of final arrangements during this most difficult time. More importantly, they won't have to worry about how they'll pay for it. Visit Everhart Bow Funeral Home today and discover all the affordable options available. Everhart Bow Funeral Home, Wintersville, Richmond, and Burgolds.
And we're back here live at Bennigan's with the Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show with the Indian Creek portion of the Coaches Show. Coach Andrew Connor. This part brought to you by Everhart Bow Funeral Home. Coach, congratulations. Great win.
Thank you.
We were privileged enough to be there Friday night, and just nothing but kudos. Complete domination for most of the game on the offensive line. The things, we had talked about the week before. They get those two big offensive linemen. One's, a D1 recruit, and you guys just manhandled them, in my opinion, me and Billy said.
I thought our kids played well. I thought, the one thing we stressed is, you can kind of look at a team and, you want to see your greatest improvements between weeks 1 and 2. And, I thought from what we had done kind of to hurt ourselves in the Cambridge game, we didn't do that against East Liverpool. And I also thought that, up front defensively, we were able to stop them from running the ball. And I thought offensively that young offensive line, got momentum going. And, Zion doesn't need a big hole. He just needs some movement, and then he can produce the rest on his own. So I was proud of the kids. I thought, the one thing we want to start doing is playing more physical. And that's what, I've been trying to do in the 20 years I've been there, play physical football. And I thought our kids did a good job of that.
Coach, you talk about being young. How young are you?
At one time, I think in the middle of the second quarter, we were two sophomore, 3 freshmen on the offensive line. We have a sophomore quarterback, a sophomore tailback. We got a sophomore wide receiver, sophomore wing. So
I didn't know you were that young.
Yeah.
It's young, man.
I will
How
say
many
this.
seniors you got, buddy?
We got 5 seniors, and we got 4 juniors. The rest of the kids are sophomores and freshmen. So, I thought our kids responded well, and on-the-job training, and they're doing well with it.
Are those kids playing all the time, or are they just in a rotation of playing, or all them freshmen and sophomores?
They're either starters or playing all the time.
Wow, that's something, man. That's a big challenge.
It is.
You and your staff and the whole team. It's tough to win with freshmen and sophomores. So kudos to you, man.
Thank you.
The big 6, I think it's 6'5", 6'6", 7, 320 freshman really impressed me because most of the time Ludwig or the other guy were over him, and they were just basically able to push them off the line. And like you said, Zion, McGee, I got to give him kudos too because there was times where he'd be hit. He's not. I said it all night on the air. He's not that big. But he runs big because he'd get hit at the line of scrimmage. Bam! 3 or 4 years later, he still have guys bouncing off of him. And like I said, it just the physical part of the game. You guys completely took over. What was it that you saw that that you were okay? We're going to be able to do this.
Well, I think it's basically just fundamentals. I thought that the week before, it might have been that first game jitters. It may have been, a lot of different things. But I thought at times we had fundamental breakdowns. We didn't read our keys on defense. I thought we did a much better job. Our linebackers filled better because they read their keys. And, Liverpool was a team that pulled their guard tackle. And if you read your keys, you're going to go right to the ball. And I thought we did better with that. I thought, our defensive line did a better job using their hands, fundamentals there. I thought offensive line-wise, we were able to step better. We didn't get beat to our gap. And I thought our offensive line did a really good job controlling their size. And like I said, our running backs ran hard. And, I think that's part of, if you want to be successful, what do you do after contact? Do you go down right away? Or are you able to push that pile 2, 3, 4 yards? And, that's what we want to do offensively. And then, we're able to get a nice pass play. Sal Barklow, our quarterback, rolled to his right, and he found Caleb Bowden in the end zone there. Just trying to develop our passing game somewhat so that as we go on with the year, we're going to see teams probably drop the 8th or the 9th guy into the box, and we want to be able to throw the ball. And we feel like with Caleb and Cam McAfee's back this week, he was out last week with concussion. We feel like we have some receivers that can stretch the field a little bit, and if Sal's able to do that when they sneak up on us, that's going to make us a little bit better and a little bit more unpredictable in what we do.
They had us kind of heated because, and I know you said something to the officials because 72, I think it was Ludwig was his name. He was false starting every other play, and they called, I think, maybe once or twice on him. But he kept jumping, and we're like, they're not calling. I guess that was like the NFL. You always see that tackle move early. But, that was frustrating for us up there, so I know I had to get under your skin a little.
It's one of those things. You don't really – I saw it, I said something, and then you move on. I think our kids started to play well, and you're more worried about that.
Yeah.
Well, with the officials, you could yell at them every play, Coach, right?
Yeah, but I've turned over a new leaf.
Good for you, man. It was
turned over a new
leaf I never found.
Yeah, I turned over a new leaf. I'm trying to get down to just one penalty a game on the sideline warning.
Sideline warning.
Which is the dumbest penalty ever to me, the sideline warning. Okay, I won't go there, but I think it's just a dumb penalty to call.
Well, what is that, Coach, on the sideline warning? Is that as if do they call that if you are in their way? Is that what the rule says? Or they just call that just to call it?
That
if
rule,
you're yelling at them or something.
That rule, actually, both sideline warnings I've gotten this year so far were me just trying to tell all my young kids, you got that gap, you got this gap, you got that gap, and so both have caught me off guard. Basically, what they're telling you is you're allowed to come out on the field in between the snap. And then once play gets ready to go, you've got to be out of the white, the sideline box. Well, sometimes, if you're middle coaching, you're not – I can understand, I think, sometimes if you're hollering at an official,
right.
I can understand the whole idea of saying, hey, enough's enough. I always get kind of caught up if you're not in the way and you're really coaching your kids. I mean, you're out there, you're trying
That's
to
what
say,
I would think. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, like
if you're in the way, if
you're in the way or you're going after them, I can understand that. If you're on them about holdings or jumping off, but if you're really just coaching your kids, and you're trying to get information out to kids, that's sometimes where, I get mad at the whole idea of it. I can understand if you're on them or you're in their way, but.
And you made my point exactly. That's why I think it's so dumb, because you weren't doing anything wrong. You're coaching. And you're not affecting the player, you're not affecting the official. I can
understand the safety part, and I know I'm wrong, but I just want people to think it's not I'm out there on the official. I'm basically just trying to, when they're far away, it's not like other sports where you're right next to a guy. You got bands playing. You got to get your voice out there. I mean, I know I got a loud mouth and I got a big mouth, but still, you got to be out there far enough to kind of, get your message across, and that's what it is.
I got to ask you too, Coach. On the defensive side of the ball. That Trent, I think I forget his last name for Liverpool. He had 190-something yards a week before against Minerva. You totally eliminated him from the game. They had a little bit of success early on that jet sweep, but then the coaching the changes that you made. What were you able to see there? Because you took that completely away from him as well.
I think our kids did a good job. We start off in a 4-man front, and then we kind of shifted to a 5-man front, and we started. Slanting our down 3 to their strength or to the wide side of the field, which kind of helped us get some gaps in there. And I thought our defensive line played outstanding, and I thought, we were able to kind of get our feet a little bit. They had a little bit of success there in the second quarter, I think it was, late first quarter, run into our right, their left, and then I thought we tightened up, and, we played pretty well. And I thought, like I said, I think we matched on both sides of the ball our physicality. And I think that's something, we've stressed from June, the team that plays us the next morning, we want them to, when they wake up, think, we were in a ball game and we played Indian Creek.
I like that.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing. I think that's what we kind of been missing. And I think, if you would ask Liverpool Saturday morning, they would have told you they played Indian Creek.
Well, see, that right there, Coach, is one thing that I don't know, as a coach, you can control. I mean, the kid has got to want to get after people. I mean, you can preach it. So that's kudos to your kids.
Absolutely.
If they're
100%.
getting after people and they're hitting people, I mean, God bless them, because that's what it's all about. You could do a lot of things as a coach if your kids want to play.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So that's good. I'm happy to hear that for you.
And I do have to ask you one thing, because Billy had just mentioned during the game, third quarter, he said, right now, Indian Creek's best offense right now is to punt the ball down, pin them deep, because East Liverpool can't move the ball. The fake punt. Would you do that again?
Here's the thing. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a big fake punter, and I called the fake punt. Uh-huh. But you know what? I kind of thought this year, if I want to teach my kids, that we're in it to win, sometimes you got to be able to do something where you play outside the box. And for me, I don't like to take chances. I'm boring, conservative, but I want my kids to know I'm with them. We want to win this year. We want to do things to show that we're not just, hoping. We're going out to, go get a win. Like sometimes I think you get kind of get scared of your own fear or whatever that is. And I want to show our kids, we're in it this year. We're going to do things that maybe I'm not comfortable with, our staff's not, but we want to show our kids we're all in. And, I think our kids responded well.
I was going to say that 100%.
And I think the kids knew, hey, coach is doing something he doesn't like to do. I mean, now I did tell him afterwards.
They ain't stupid. Kids aren't stupid.
I did tell him afterwards. I said, Coach will never fake a punt again. Okay,
but you're right, though. They did respond because Liverpool went down and scored, and you guys went right back down the field and took the momentum right back away from them.
And I think that's part of the maturation. I do. And I think that's an important part of it. And I thought, even with our coaching staff, I have a great coach that they all play from. I have 6 assistants that are under the age of 32. Wow. And so, there's only really 3 coaches.
That helps.
There's only 3 coaches, me, Coach Hammock, and Coach Karras that are over that. So we're the kind of the over-the-hill thing, even though Coach Hammock won't admit to it now. But he's in the over-the-hill part of this. And just seeing the younger coaches, too. It's kind of like everybody's going to kind of grow up all together. And those coaches worked so hard at practice this last week. And, we had a great meeting, and the coaches worked so hard to implement the game plan. And I think that's also part of this whole thing of the, using what other coaches always complain about. Oh, we're young. I look at it as been a positive from day one because there's more energy. The kids are excited. If you just hear them talk, you can see we're getting closer to, seeing that there's a potential there, and we're working towards that.
Right. Well, you did a fantastic job this week. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about next week's opponent, the Brook Bruins. You're listening to the Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show live at Bennigan's.
Got a sidewalk that needs replaced, or maybe your roof is leaking? How about some new windows? Who do you call? Fort Steuben Maintenance, that's who. Commercial or residential, they can handle most any project, big or small. They also do new construction and renovations. So get a free estimate by calling Fort Steuben Maintenance today and get them started on your next project. 740-283-4890 for Fort Steuben Maintenance.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in Ohio, who do you meet? Answer. Men and women who played high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Question. So where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The game is over, but this time, instead of asking how many goals did you score or what were your stats, try asking these questions. Were you a good teammate? Were you coachable? Did you give 100%? And did you have fun? Because those are the values that school sports instill in Ohio's young people, where winning and losing are secondary to the life lessons that will stay with kids long after their playing days are over. This is the Ohio High School Athletic Association. Educate through sports.
It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare Ohio's young people for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again. Better yet, think about attending a high school sporting event in your community. You'll be amazed by what you see. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Everhart Bove Funeral Home, they believe you should take care of your loved ones while you still can. Pre-planning at Everhart Bove ensures that your family won't have to worry about the stress of final arrangements during this most difficult time. More importantly, they won't have to worry about how they'll pay for it. Visit Everhart Bove Funeral Home today and discover all the affordable options available. Everhart Bove Funeral Home, Wintersville, Richmond, and Burgolds.
And we're back here live at Bennigan's. Coach Andrew Connor, Indian Creek High School. This part sponsored by Everhart Bove Funeral Home. Coach, this week's opponent, the Brook Bruins, long time, rival. I gotta say, Brook, Liverpool teams around here. When you guys play, it doesn't matter the records. They're just gonna go head to head. Rock'em Sock'em. This Brook team was a young team last year. They're all back as juniors. They're still young because they're juniors, but they've grown a lot. They've got one of the some of the most talented kids in the valley, in my opinion, and Springer. What are you guys going to do to prepare for them?
Well, basically, both teams are coming on a short week because we play tomorrow night, Thursday night, so we can play on television. But, one of the things is you play a team like Brook, and we've been playing them at, the younger levels, and we play them at the varsity level. So, one of the things about our schedule is, we play a lot of these schools, and our kids kind of grow up with them. So that's one thing, the familiarity with it. I think Coach McLean has done a great job. He's a really hard-working coach. Our staff does a good job. And when you watch film on Brook, you can tell they're fundamentally sound. Our goal is, to try to take away big plays defensively. Try to keep him in the box and not let him run around. He throws the ball really well on the run. They do a lot of, play action and boot away from their play action or their running plays. And so we're going to have to do a good job trying not to give up that tight end crossing route or that fullback shoot. We need to do a good job trying to box in. They run the buck sweep like we do. They try to get on the corner. They got nice speed from the two wings they got. And, our basic thing is, we want to try to keep behind the chains, or at least try not to have them, which they did against Ripley. They had a lot of nice 2nd and 2s and 2nd and 3, and that's an easy kind of play call right there. I mean, you can basically call anything you want, and our goal is to kind of win first down defensively. That's been our thing we stressed all week, is we need that first down win, and not beat ourselves, and I think we did a better job against East Liverpool of kind of we run a gap control defense, and I thought we did a good job of being in the right gaps and controlling them, and it's something we have to do again. We got to prove that we're consistent, and we're going to keep playing football the way. And offensively, we're going to try to pound the football. I mean, we're not going to hide nothing from anybody when we play them. I mean, we're a running football team. We're going to run the ball, and I think Coach Hammock does always a good job of even though we're going to run, being able to mix up how we do it, when we do it, where we do it, and keeps you guessing. So but the base part of this is going to be run the football, and we're blessed with good running backs, and an offensive line that's getting better every time they go out.
Coach, a few things here I wanted to say. You mentioned Coach McLean. Brook is vastly improved, so and good for everybody that they are. He's weathered the storm over there. It seems like he's getting some players here. Now, when I played, that was the initial beginning of Brook in Wintersville. So can you tell me, has this been a game since the existence? I mean, I know it was Wintersville Brook from like 1970 to whenever it became Indian Creek. Did Indian Creek immediately continue that rivalry?
No, they didn't. I mean, so when I took over back in 2003, so that'd been year 11 for Indian Creek, we were just starting to play Brook. And then we played Brook 3 more times with me being head coach. And then we took I think it was like maybe 7-8 years sabbatical because we got in the Buckeye 8. And
right.
Scheduling happened. It was hard to get them on the schedule. But I think we've now played the last 8 years in a row, maybe 9, something like that.
Yeah, because I was thinking if it was consistent, I mean, that would have been a long-standing rivalry.
So it's not.
And I like that.
Yeah, it's not. But, I mean, there's still, for us, we love having the game. I'm sure that if you ask Coach McLean, he'd say the same
Absolutely.
thing. I do know that I think when we picked it back up, if I'm not mistaken, we picked it back up in 2014 because my son was a senior, and we played him over there. And I'm not mistaken, their AD told Joe that was the largest regular season crowd in that stadium's history when we played over there. We ended up winning 9-8, but they've been very competitive games, and I just think it's good for the communities to have something that other people can talk about. So if you grew up in this area, you could talk about Wintersville Brook, and so I just think it's a great game for us, and I think we're both. We have the same type of kids. We're trying to get kids to play hard, and like I said, I think Mac has done a fantastic job of getting his program where he wants it to be, and his numbers are way up. If you look at their sidelines now, it reminds you of Brook.
Right.
I mean, the numbers are there, and that's credit to him and his staff. I mean, that they're able to do that, and it's not easy to get kids to come out for football today. So
I tell you, that's
kudos to him, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean. Playing football is tough.
It is.
And tough kids do it. I mean, that's how I feel. I mean, playing football is tough, especially today because there's a million other things that you could do.
It is.
And I'm going to ask you, Coach, we talked about Brook's offense, defensively, what do they, how they come at you?
They play what we play. They play a 4-3. They play kind of a cover 2 shell behind it. I thought they did a really good job getting to the football against Ripley in their first game, and I think that's what everybody wants. I mean, it's cliche to say run to the ball, but I mean, if you can get your kids around the ball, that's a big part of defense. So, I thought they were very aggressive. They tackled well. You didn't see many big plays from Ripley, and they seemed like, they were able to control the line of scrimmage. You know, there was always that push from their interior four, which allows them to play defense. I think if you got to stun all the time, it's kind of that win or lose situation. I mean, sometimes you're going to get a big play, but sometimes you're going to give up a big play. And you know, you kind of flip it for us. Like last week, I think that was the least amount of stunning and blitzing we've done in ages because, you know, if you feel like your kids are playing well, just let them play well. And I thought that's what Brooke did. I thought Brooke's kids played very well. They tackled well. And the other thing that you don't see a lot of today when you're watching high school teams, maybe any team at any level, is tackling in space. That's a very difficult thing. You really don't hit as much at practice because of, you know, the rules saying don't hit, and you don't want kids getting injured. So the one thing that's kind of really hurt football is tackling. It's something seems simple, but you know, if you could tackle well, that really makes you a good football team. And I thought Brooks showed that in their opening game against Ripley.
And I was going to ask you, what do you do different? We talked about this before, and are the kids prepared? It's a short week again. What do you do different? What do you take out? Or, you know, or do you shorten everything up that you do, or do you eliminate maybe, okay, we're not going to do this today that we would usually do because you got one less day?
Well, I mean, what we did was, you know, we started earlier on Monday, so usually Monday we kind of ease into it, you know, and you know, kind of try to get the rest of that soreness out. So we really practiced on Monday, and you know, we went full pads earlier than we would have, and we added on our time. You know, we just made practices longer to get in our stuff. But you know, again, I've told my coaches before, one thing I've learned maybe over the time is that you know, the amount of time you practice doesn't really matter. I think when you're younger, like when I was first a head coach, I thought if I practiced longer than you, that there was some sort of spiritual thing that I would get out of it. And I think you get wiser as you get older, and you realize, you know, just use your time better. And I thought we did a better job this week of using our time better and going over things. And you know, I think for having lost a day, I still feel like we're very prepared, and you know, we're ready to go for what we have to do here against Brooke.
That's excellent. Do you? I know the kids probably love it being on TV, and you know, but as a coach, is that that day lost? Is that sort of a hassle, or are you guys just as excited as you know because you get more people get to see you, you know, on?
I think, you know, anytime you can reward your kids, I think, you know, sometimes you forget as a head coach they're teenagers. And so, you know, I mean, it's not a big deal to me. I mean, so, but to them it is. And, you know, when you get treated a little bit special and it feels more like it's a college and more like, you know, hey, we're a live TV game. I mean,
absolutely.
I think, you know, sometimes we forget, you know, we get older and we forget. And I think it's great for them. I think WTV9 does a great job doing it. I think, you know, we're lucky in our area that they want to do it. A lot of places, you'll get no media coverage, and in our area we have so many people worried about high school sports like you guys or WTV9. I think, you know, as coaches we should do our best to do anything we can because this is their 4 years. I mean, a lot of these guys, these are their 4 years, and the more we can do, the more recognition they get, the better they feel and the more special. It's a lot easier to practice if you feel like I'm getting something in return for this than other than just saying, hey, you want to do this. You know, we're lucky we're on TV 3 times, and, you know, maybe I don't want to do it.
Right.
You know, but it's not me.
It's
I mean, it's for the kids, and I think it's special for them. And you know, I think tomorrow will be a nice atmosphere over at Brooke. We're on TV. It's a Thursday night, 2 rivalry games, and you know, it's an early season matchup to see where both teams are.
Well, Coach, that's going to wrap it up. I'm going to tell you good luck. You know,
good luck, Coach.
Thanks, buddy. Have you back here next Wednesday after victory number 2. Coach Andrew Conner of Indian Creek High School takes on Brooke Bruins tomorrow night, folks. Have a great evening, Coach.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you.
Got a sidewalk that needs replaced, or maybe your roof is leaking? How about some new... You know, Fort Steuben Maintenance should be your...
Everhart Bove Funeral Home, they believe you should take care of your loved ones while you still can. Pre-planning at Everhart Bove ensures that your family won't have to worry about the stress of final arrangements during this most difficult time. More importantly, they won't have to worry about how they'll pay for it. Visit Everhart Bove Funeral Home today and discover all the affordable options available. Everhart Bove Funeral Home, Wintersville, Richmond, and Burgolds.
Thanks, Everhart Bove Funeral Home, for sponsoring Indian Creek head coach Andrew Conner on the Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show.
How do you define strength? Is it physical? Or is it mental? Maybe it's both. Maybe it's whatever empowers a person to dig deeper, fight harder, and overcome obstacles that once seemed insurmountable. Discover how much stronger and more confident your children can be. Encourage them to participate in a sport when they go to high school.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Being a teenager is tough. There's the constant pressure to be liked.
Endless worrying about college.
Cyberbullying, high expectations, all the negativity.
There's no question. Being a teenager is tough. And what do Ohio's teens do when they want to block out the noise and clear their heads?
We play!
Yeah! Research shows that teenagers who participate in high school sports have lower stress levels, more confidence, and greater self-esteem. And then there's the biggest benefit of all.
High school sports are fun.
Not just fun.
They're a lot of fun.
Encourage your teenagers to participate in a sport or activity when they go to high school. They'll stress less and smile more. And they'll be laying the foundation for a happier, healthier future.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The J.E. Foster Funeral Home has been proudly serving the communities of Toronto and Smithfield and all of Jefferson County for over 30 years. They are a family-owned funeral home, and they offer funeral and cremation services tailored to meet your needs, and they do so with professionalism, compassion, dignity, and respect. Jeff and Jay Foster would like to wish the best of luck to Toronto Red Knights and all of the teams up and down the Ohio Valley. If you or someone you know would like more information on how their family can help you guide your family in this time of need, please visit their website, www.jefosterfh.com. That is www.jefosterfh.com. Their motto, our emphasis on family carries over to yours. J.E. Foster Funeral Home, a proud sponsor of the Coaches Show. This high school event is brought to you by AT&T on Sunset via the AT&T Wireless Network. Remember, don't text and drive, it can wait. AT&T on Sunset is a proud sponsor of this high school event.
Want to become a sponsor of this online sports broadcast? It's easy. Look us up on Facebook under Ohio Valley Sports Online. Drop us a message right on our wall or shoot us an email. More bang for your buck. Why? Because it's not radio. It's an online internet sports broadcast with unlimited and endless potential for you. Why settle for less when you can advertise with the best? Ohio Valley Sports Online.
This is Ohio Valley Sports Online, your connection to Ohio Valley Sports. Listen anywhere in the world from any connected device, smartphone, tablets, iPads, and computers. Ohio Valley Sports Online brings you live game action from the guys with over 50 years in radio sports broadcasting.
The J.E. Foster Funeral Home has been proudly serving the communities of Toronto and Smithfield and all of Jefferson County for over 30 years. They are a family-owned funeral home, and they offer funeral and cremation services tailored to meet your needs, and they do so with professionalism, compassion, dignity, and respect. Jeff and Jay Foster would like to wish the best of luck to Toronto Red Knights and all of the teams up and down the Ohio Valley. If you or someone you know would like more information on how their family can help you guide your family in this time of need, please visit their website, www.jefosterfh.com. That is www.jefosterfh.com. Their motto, our emphasis on family carries over to yours. J.E. Foster Funeral Home, a proud sponsor of the Coaches Show.
And we're back here at Bennigan's with the Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show with the Toronto Red Knight portion being sponsored by J.E. Foster Funeral Home. And before we go any further, I want to give a shout out to my buddy Harold Veal, who brought me here today from work because I didn't have a vehicle. Thank you, Harold. And also, I want to tell you, Coach, last night we were riding out. We did our first volleyball game ever.
Okay.
It was the Indian Creek girls and Big Red. And as I was riding, I don't know what hit me. I called Coach Anthony Agresta. And we had a 5-10 minute conversation. He's doing well, but he told me to tell all you coaches here.
Oh, great.
Good luck. And
great guy.
Hello. Yeah,
great guy. I'm glad to hear he's doing good.
But now back to the Red Knights. Another big victory. Excellent job. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. But so Dr. Dennis Valerio there. But he said, another big week for you guys coming up. Excellent job moving to 2-0. And once again, you guys dominated the game.
Yeah. I mean, from we kind of started slow. I wasn't really happy with our start. We went 3 and out on offense. And we didn't have the best week of practice last week, and that was kind of the emphasis this week. Is you guys came out, had a bad week of practice. You came out, went 3 and out on offense, and for a high-powered offense that you're supposed to be, that's not the expectation. So practice has been a lot better this week than it was last week, so we're hoping we'll get out a little bit faster. But outside of that those first 3 plays, I think after that everything kind of ran a little smoother. So
it seems like when you get in games like that, and kids know, we talk to every coach, they know who they're playing.
Right.
It's just tough when you're playing football. You're going to have contact. It doesn't make a difference if a team's 0-8 or 0-9 or whatever it is. You're going to have contact. But kids can tell you when they want to be up.
Right.
It's tough. It's tough to get up every week. I like what Reno says. If you want to, you're a good team if your coach is your leader. You're a great team if your kids are the leader.
Right. Absolutely.
So that's what you got to get when you got young kids. You just got to get your players to be leaders and go, hey, it doesn't make a difference who we play. We got to be ready to play every Friday night and be ready to go.
Well, and I think that's one of the emphasis is we tried to go into that game of saying like, hey guys, listen, great teams beat teams that they're even with, and they destroy teams that they're ahead of, or they're better than, and that was what we expected out of those guys last Friday. Was East Palestine, they're rebuilding that program, and they're young, a sophomore quarterback, and the kids know that they're a little bit better than they are, but it's one of those things where it's like, all right, then you need to have a dominating performance if that's the case. So that's kind of the expectations, and again, it's taken us. It's my 5th season, so it's taken us a while to get to the point we're at right now. But again, the expectations are a little higher, and the goals are a little bigger. So again, but that's we're happy where we're at.
Did they throw anything at you defensively that you weren't expecting? Did they try to take Zane out, and you have to do anything, differently, or did it go pretty much par?
Not really. Zane did get off to a slow start. They tackled a little bit better in the open field than we anticipated them doing. But we run we run some option type stuff. Not your typical like speed option, but more like read option kind of things, and we mix in a little bit of RPO with it and stuff like that. And I think Zeb, the light bulb went off for Zeb Kinsey last week. Yes. And Zane obviously gets a lot of attention. So, we run a number of different things where Zane might be a read, and if they attack Zane, then Zeb is to pull it and go. And they keyed in a lot on Zane, and it allowed Zeb to have a big night. I think Zeb finished with 5 carries for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yes,
so,
yes, he did.
It was nice to be able to be in the film room the next day and being like, being able to tell Zane, your kid that's getting some Division I attention, like, hey, your baby brother rushed for more yards than you did. I'm going to tease him a little bit and keep the competitiveness. They're a competitive family, so they kind of thrive off of that. But
excellent. Well, it's going to be good for guys like that to get, when you have games like that, to get some confidence built up, because you are going to play teams in the season that are going to be even or better than you, and you're going to have to mix it up here and there because they're going to take him away.
Right.
And say, beat me some other way. Some of them games, they say, well, why do you play them? Sometimes you got to play games like that so you can get your younger kids some confidence.
Right.
The kid hasn't played quarterback.
Correct.
So now he's getting his feet on the ground a little bit. When you get into your meat of your schedule, and then he'll be ready to go.
Right, and that's, the initial plan was going out is, let's try to establish, the passing game a little bit more, and we came out attempting that, and then, things happen. Don Boucher returns another punt for a touchdown, and the game starts to get away, and you kind of get in that zone where it's like, man, the score's getting a little out of hand. We don't want to throw the ball because then it looks like we're trying to run the score up, but in reality, we want to throw the ball because we want to work. We want to practice that. Right. You know, and then at halftime it started raining, and so it's kind of like you don't want to be throwing the ball in wet conditions, and let's just run the ball and get out of here. So, again, I think the pass will evolve each game that Zeb is back there, and he gets more and more comfortable being back there. We've put some things into our pass game this week that I think are going to allow him to get a little bit more confidence throwing the ball. And, you know, again, he'll continue to develop and improve as a quarterback. For as big as he is, it's hard to believe he's just sophomore, but a lot of times I have to kind of, you know, tell myself that, like, hey, he's just sophomore. He's baby. He's learning.
Right. And I got to, you know, give a big shout-out and credit to your defense because, once again, they played an excellent job.
Right.
And, you know, you guys have barely been scoring. You know?
Right. Well, that's I think these games have been weird. We had 36 plays on offense last week, and we averaged 9.6 yards a play.
Wow.
And it's like one of those things where it's like, you know, you're scoring quickly, the defense is getting 3 and outs, and the games are going really fast. You know, it's kind of like it makes you a little nervous that when you do come up to an opponent that you're evenly matched with, and you got to play a full 4-quarter game, and it's a long, and you're battling, and you got to, you know, 3 yards and you know, work your way down the field. It makes you a little nervous if you're going to be prepared for that. So, you know, hopefully, you know, that doesn't come back and bite us in the end.
Well, you're talking about not throwing it, not running it. When you got 28 kids, it's tough not to. You know, I always tell people that, like, Matthews was playing Central, and we're looking over there. They got 6 guys on the sideline.
Right.
You know, how they subbing. There's no subbing, and you get 2 scrimmages. You got to work on it somewhere down the line, and practice doesn't get it because it's not live. You can say you're going live, but it's not live.
Right, you're right.
There's not a referee. There's not a scoreboard. It's not live. You know, and that's how you got to get better at it, is doing it in game situations. Some people don't like it, but I know a lot of successful coaches that do it.
Right. Well, and I mean, you know, and even my wife, being the coach's wife that she is, she gets on me that, you know, you need to throw the ball more. You need to be passing it more because, you know, like, he's going to have to pass down the line. And, you know,
Right.
I know she's absolutely right. But then I look back at her and I tell her, I'm like, listen, if you're running for 300 yards a game, what's wrong with that? Why can't we just run the ball?
Exactly.
So, it was, you know, but it's one of those things, and again, we talk as a staff like that as well, and it's one of, you know, you have teams that win state championships every year that you know, maybe only throw the ball 3 times a game,
yeah.
you know, and we, trust me, we throw it a lot more than that. I think Zeb threw it 14 times last week, you know, and again, we had 36 plays, so that's, you know, a little less than half, but you know, we were probably 60-40 last week, so it's not that we're not throwing it, and you know, he had a couple deep balls last Friday that, I mean, were in and out of receivers' hands. His brother had a wheel route out of the backfield that was probably 40 yards, and he, I mean, literally dropped it right in his breadbasket. And it was nice to see the brothers go at it for a little bit about that one. But so, again, it's not that he's not capable of doing it. He's fully capable of doing it, and we let him. You know, we're throwing the ball. We just hasn't clicked yet. And, you know, we don't have to rely on it. He actually ran – we ran a 2-minute right before halftime, and I mean, it was really well done. You know, for something you practice only once a week, and it was the first time in a real live game situation running a 2-minute. He ran it well. We literally dropped 2 touchdown passes where we should have scored. So I was happy. I was happy to see that, you know, he's capable of doing it if needed.
You know, and I got to ask you, were you and Dom surprised they punted to him?
You know, I think it was by accident. They tried to they quick kicked, you know, the quarterback just kind of dropped back. It takes us 3 steps back, and he quick kicked it early in the game, and it rolled a little bit. And, you know, it's kind of one of those things where, like, Dom figured out real quick what they were doing. So, you know, the rest of our defense lined up. It was 4th, and they were in their own territory. It was 4th down and long. It was clearly you're not going to fake it. And Dom let the rest of the defense get set, and he switched with the safety and kind of played like safety depth. And as soon as that quarterback dropped back, Dom dropped back with him, and he got him. So, but listen, we're going to have to do that in special teams. I mean, we've talked about in our meetings that, you know, we're going to have to find ways to hide Dom and even hide Zane on kickoff returns and figure out ways that we can still get them touches, because right now, I mean, we're 2 games in and our special teams have scored 3 touchdowns for us. So, I mean, that's an important part of our game.
That's big. If you're scoring 3 touchdown special teams in 2 games, that's
right.
That's a big thing to do. And we talk about it all the time. That's special teams is a big part of high school football.
Absolutely.
People don't realize it. If you can kick off into the end zone, they start at the 20 and got to go 80.
Right.
But if you're kicking it short and the guy takes it 50 and he's getting to midfield, you only got to go 50. You know, it's like in ping pong. I always tell people, why are you good in ping pong? I'm good in ping pong because I let the other guy make the mistake.
Right. Yeah.
You know, you just keep returning the ball, he'll make a mistake. And that's what kind of like special teams is when you got a guy like that, Deffen Hester in the NFL. They say, we're never going to kick it to him. But they found a way to get him the football.
And that's what we have to do. And I mean, even like, punts, like we go into every game with a different punt, fake punt every week, you know, because I think that's one of those areas where you get your punt return team out there and, if we're running a different punt, fake punt play every week, you can't really prepare for it because you haven't seen it. And some of those kids aren't used to being out there, and it's a weird formation, and it's not something you go over a ton. And I feel like you can really steal some yardage there too. So we always have a fake punt in our pocket. And again, we gotta get creative on our punt returns and our kick returns a little bit with Dom and Zane. But and here's the other thing too is we're playing Division VII football, and we don't play anybody this year bigger than a D4 school. But at those size schools, like these aren't Division I punters, you know what I mean? Like, and they're not Division I kickers. Sometimes.
Owned funeral home, and they offer funeral and cremation services tailored to meet your needs, and they do so with professionalism, compassion, dignity, and respect. Jeff and Jay Foster would like to wish the best of luck to Toronto Red Knights and all of the teams up and down the Ohio Valley. If you or someone you know would like more information on how their family can help you guide your family in this time of need, please visit their website, www.jefosterfh.com. That is www.jefosterfh.com. Their motto, our emphasis on family carries over to yours. J.E. Foster Funeral Home, a proud sponsor of the Coaches Show.
The game is over, but this time, instead of asking how many goals did you score or what were your stats, try asking these questions. Were you a good teammate? Were you coachable? Did you give 100%? And did you have fun? Because those are the values that school sports instill in Ohio's young people, where winning and losing are secondary to the life lessons that will stay with kids long after their playing days are over. This is the Ohio High School Athletic Association. Educate through sports.
Being a teenager is tough.
There's the constant pressure to be liked.
Endless worrying about college.
Cyberbullying, high expectations, all the negativity.
There's no question. Being a teenager is tough. And what do Ohio's teens do when they want to block out the noise and clear their heads?
We play!
Yeah! Research shows that teenagers who participate in high school sports have lower stress levels, more confidence, and greater self-esteem. And then there's the biggest benefit of all.
High school sports are fun.
Not just fun.
They're a lot of fun.
Encourage your teenagers to participate in a sport or activity when they go to high school. They'll stress less and smile more. And they'll be laying the foundation for a happier, healthier future.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Thanks a lot for following us at Ohio Valley Sports Online. Why not visit our webpage at ohiovalleysportsonline.com. It's the way to go for sports fans around the globe to follow your favorite local sports teams.
All right, we're back here We're going to talk about next week's opponent, this week's opponent coming up, Lisbon, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Correct. 2-0 Lisbon.
2-0, yeah, 2-0.
So you got it home or up there?
We're up there. They're a new turf field. Their second game on it, so that'll be fun.
Can you tell us a little bit about what Lisbon does, what they're going to give you problems with?
They're a running team. They run some they love the jet sweep. And they love to run the jet sweep. They'll run the counter off the jet sweep, and they have some backs that'll run hard between the tackles. Number 20, he's a hard little runner, tough-nosed kid. Quarterback's athletic. They run a play. I think that worries me the most defensively for us. They run a play where they'll pull both guards and they'll mesh point like they're going to run the buck sweep, and then that quarterback pulls it and goes the opposite way of the pulling guards. So, we've had to coach up our linebackers this week to make sure that, they're not keying the guards the whole game, that they need to play. We play that stack linebacker defense. So, the backside away from the guard pool needs to stay disciplined on the quarterback pool. He could throw it. I don't think they have a prolific passing attack, but he can get the ball downfield. So, quarterback's athlete, and and again, it's just one of those things where they played Wyndham, who Wyndham just canceled their next game because they don't have enough kids, that too many injuries, and then they've played Fairport Harbor, who they weren't super impressive on tape either. So it's one of those things that they're 2-0. And it's hard to gauge how good they really are. But you could say the same thing about us. I mean, we're 2-0, but that you look at the opponents we played, and you could kind of ask yourself, well, how good really are they? So hopefully it's an interesting game, and it's competitive both ways, and we're excited to get out there and try to get another one.
Tell us a little bit, kids. How many? I know they're Division 7. But just how many kids they bring? Are they a big? Are they a big squad up front, or they like a finesse?
I was looking at their roster today. They have a kid they have one kid that's 250, and then the next largest kid on their roster is 230. They don't have a ton of height, but they're solid kids. I mean, they're solid kids. They got several kids around the 220 range. So, I'd say we're bigger. But, they're definitely – I mean, listen, they're going to be physical. Lisbon's known for being physical. And they probably have about 35 on the roster, if I were to guess. So, it's 7, I mean, it's pretty good roster size for Division 7 school. So, where the JV schedule is kind of all screwed up a little bit because they're in the OAC or the EOAC, and they have to play a certain conference schedule for JV there. So, our JVs actually played last Saturday. And they had 13 JV players. We had 13 JV players, and I think our JVs played well against them. So I think I think we're going to be okay going into Friday. I think we're cautiously optimistic.
That's always good when you get off to a good start and good things start happening. How do you keep your kids complacent to understand the big picture? Because a lot of kids get 3-0, 4-0,
sure.
and their head starts rolling. Because in Division 7, there's some really good football teams.
Right.
And we all know that when you get in the playoffs and we can go down the road, Shady Side, to
Yep.
the state championship and got beat 70-7. There's some big schools like we cover the state finals. Big Red was in the state finals. They dressed 58. The team in Division 7 dressed 71.
Right. Right. Yep.
So how do you keep them complacent to understand the ultimate goal?
Well, and I've been saving my Nick Saban rat poison speech until I was, hopefully we get the win this week, and that's the type of speech you want to have. But it's one of those those whole things of Saban's right. You don't want to listen to everybody else tell you how good you are.
Yep.
That's great, and you can accept a compliment, but in reality, you can always improve and always get better. So. I think part of our job as coaches is, East Palestine. We played East Palestine. We came in to film Saturday morning. We kind of ripped them apart of like, hey, this was not good enough. This was not good enough. You're out of position here. This is not how you do this. And I think we talked last week about how I'm not always the most positive reinforcement type guy. I'm a very negative reinforcement type guy. When you mess up, I make sure you know it. And when you do your job, I'm not really the first person there telling you good job because you did what you were expected to do. But I think that's one of the good things I'd say about my coaching personality is that, I'm going to rip you apart even when you win, and I think that's important. When you win, what's the saying go? When you win, you're not ever as good as what you think you are, and when you lose, you're never as bad as what you think you are. Exactly. And I think that's one of these talks that we need to have. Hopefully we're having this talk sooner or later. That hey, listen, you're not as good as what you think you are, and those are good conversations, obviously, to have. But you really hope the kids can kind of buy into that speech and take it for what it's worth, because that's the reality. You have to be ready for the next guy. Everyone's always going to come and try to knock you off, and you got to be ready. You can't get caught looking down the road or anything like that. You got to one week at a time.
And let me ask you, Coach, defensively, what kind of schemes have you been able to see films or check what?
So they're unique in the fact that you can argue that they run a 5-2 defense. I think it's a 3-4. They're outside linebackers or ends. They're stand up. However, when you go out and you're running trips to that side, that walked up outside linebacker defensive end, he does not go out with the receivers. I mean, if he does, he's maybe 2 yards off the ball and a yard outside. I mean, he does not. Right. You're not getting those stand up ends / outside linebackers out of the box. So I think in reality it's a 3-4, but we are going to be blocking it this week as it's a 5-2. It changes the blocking scheme a little bit. As far as what guys we have pulling, who our kick-out players are on certain plays, who we're reading on different read option plays. So, now listen, every week, past 2 weeks we've gotten different looks each week. So we had Wellsville as a 4-4 team, single high safety, and they played 2 high safeties the entire game. And then last week we had East Palestine as a 4-front, and they at one point in the game they switched up and went to a 3-front. So. But, that's not our offensive line, and I got to give Ricky Darty, our offensive line coach, he deserves the credit here, is those guys know how to make the in-game adjustments to the different fronts. You're not going to give us any different tackle techniques that our offensive lines are not able to communicate with up front and change. Our run game schemes are predicted on how our defensive fronts are lined up. And, we could run a counter play, and it could be 3 different ways that we could block it based off of what the alignment is. But our guys know those adjustments up front. So, you prepare for one thing, and you're more than likely going to get another look the next time. Or during the game, you'll get a different look when they start trying to make adjustments. And it's just one of those things that our offensive line coaches and our offensive line are able to make in-game adjustments pretty well.
Okay.
Well, that helps, because I tell people this all the time. You're going to go as far as your offensive line,
right.
The defensive line are going to take you.
That's what the game's in.
It doesn't make a difference if you got the best tailback in the world.
You're right.
If you ain't got an offensive line, he can't run it.
Did you guys happen to see Deion Sanders? They interviewed him, asking him about playing Alabama.
Yeah.
And he was not us. We're not ready for that. He goes, give me 2 or 3 more years. He said, we're not going to be one of those paycheck teams.
Right.
Yeah.
He said, and that's what brought this up, because he actually said, the difference between them and us is not the skill players. I can get skill players. The difference is those big guys up front on offense and defense.
That's a big key, and people don't realize it. We've done a lot of state championship games, and then listen, there's not a spread team that's won it. Think about it. There's a spread team that has won it, and it doesn't. You have to run the football.
You're right.
You have to run it, and you have to block, and you have to tackle. Them guys up front are huge when you want to win big games.
Well, and for whatever, and I will say, since I've been here, we've been blessed with some big athletic offensive lines. And I think this year's no different. We got some big boys up there, and they're intelligent, and they work together. I mean, our line communication is up there with the best of them. Those guys are pointing out and calling the blocks out up front. And that's what you want, and we used to yell at our offensive lines for being too quiet. Like, if I can't hear you and I don't see your fingers pointing, that means you're not communicating up front, and they need to. They need to work as a unit together, and they all need to know what each other's doing, because if not, it's going to fall apart up front. And, they know when you have a kid like Zane or Dom or Zeb, all they need is just get that second level. Yes. And that's your job. Get them to the second level. Create a hold, get them to the second level, and they'll do the rest. So they've done a great job so far this year, and they're going to continue to get better each week, I think.
You got leaving early, or what's the plan on going up to Lisbon?
We usually eat right after school. Rusty Bull is doing our pregame meal this week, so shout out to them. They take care of us. Toronto's great. We always have the restaurants in town take care of us. So we do a motivation period where the kids will watch some type of motivational video, hype video, and then we'll go down the field. We'll do a walkthrough, get taped up, and we'll load up with the buses around 4:30. So.
All right, it's going to wrap it up for Coach Josh Franke, Toronto Red Knights, excuse me.
It's all right, man.
Oh, long day. Toronto Red Knights. Coach, good luck Friday night.
Thank you.
We're talking about a 3-0 Josh Franke.
Nice.
Toronto Red Knights.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Coach.
Good luck to you Friday.
Yep, thanks, man.
Yep.
You're listening to the High School Coaches Show on Ohio Valley Sports Online. We'll be right back after these messages.
The J.E. Foster Funeral Home has been proudly serving the communities of Toronto and Smithfield and all of Jefferson County for over 30 years. They are a family-owned funeral home, and they offer funeral and cremation services tailored to meet your needs, and they do so with professionalism, compassion, dignity, and respect. Jeff and Jay Foster would like to wish the best of luck to Toronto Red Knights and all of the teams up and down the Ohio Valley. If you or someone you know would like more information on how their family can help you guide your family in this time of need, please visit their website, www.jefosterfh.com. That is www.jefosterfh.com. Their motto, our emphasis on family carries over to yours. J.E. Foster Funeral Home, a proud sponsor of the Coaches Show.
A pioneer of casual dining, Bennigan's is internationally known for its unique neighborhood vibe and exceptional chef-driven food. Come to Bennigan's on University Boulevard to stir up a great memory. Come for happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. and get $1 off draft and bottled beer and $1 off signature cocktails. Grab some bar bites too, only $5 from 9 p.m. to close. Hey, are you a soccer fan? Check out the schedule of English Premier League soccer games. Bennigan's even has delivery service, and the number to call, 740-792-8080. You got a friend at Bennigan's.
It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare Ohio's young people for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again. Better yet, think about attending a high school sporting event in your community. You'll be amazed by what you see. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
How do you define strength? Is it physical? Or is it mental? Maybe it's both. Maybe it's whatever empowers a person to dig deeper, fight harder, and overcome obstacles that once seemed insurmountable. Discover how much stronger and more confident your children can be. Encourage them to participate in a sport when they go to high school.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
A pioneer of casual dining, Bennigan's is internationally known for its unique neighborhood vibe and exceptional chef-driven food. Come to Bennigan's on University Boulevard to stir up a great memory. Come for happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. and get $1 off draft and bottled beer and $1 off signature cocktails. Grab some bar bites too, only $5 from 9 p.m. to close. Hey, are you a soccer fan? Check out the schedule of English Premier League soccer games. Bennigan's even has delivery service, and the number to call, 740-792-8080. You got a friend at Bennigan's.
What would I do if an emergency?
Oh, we're back here at Bennigan's. We're here with Steubenville Catholic Central's head football coach, Eric Meek, and his show is brought to you by the restaurant we're at, Bennigan's. Bennigan's, nice restaurant. You should come out and enjoy some food while we're doing the interviews. Well, Coach, seems like a tough game last week. We were following the game, and you told us they were pretty good. They probably didn't disappoint with them tailback coming back and stuff like that. How'd it go?
Well, it was a really tough night. The score was lopsided. They were a very good team. I'd say they're going to be in that top 3 tier teams that will play this year. There's a few more teams on our schedule that I'd say are probably up there. The thing that impressed me about them was their tailback, very good, and they were very, very physical. They didn't have a lot of kids on the team. They were in the mid-20s like us. We got a little banged up again. We started the game a little bit on the short end from the week before, and then we had 4 guys that got banged up during the game. If there was a bright spot, I thought our special teams, we played smart compared to the week before, and I was really worried because of their speed. But, and then at times we had some young guys that we got in there that they kind of were forced into the fire because of the situation, and they got their first bit of varsity action, and they impressed us. So they may be seeing more on Friday and Saturday nights, and even in tomorrow night's case, Thursday night.
Were they a bigger squad, Coach? Were they? I mean, they have
physical. Yes, very physical. Like I said, numbers. Their numbers weren't great, but they had a 1,600-yard rusher that returned, and he was pretty good. He was a very just a tough kid to bring down, and we did some things that, like I said, we did some things. We kind of got knocked around a little bit, and I don't think it was a step forward. But I'm going to say this: we'll get this thing will turn around.
Right.
I believe that. We're a team that's very young, but we want to get better each week, and we got to stay healthy. It's just a matter of, I think right now, confidence.
Mm-hmm.
If we could, there's a little bit of a lack of confidence. We need to get a win or 2 under our belts, and the kids, that's what I want to see. And we got such great kids. I told them today when we broke practice, I want them so bad. I would want them to win, not because of me, not because of the other coaches, because I want to see them happy in the locker room, because that's what type, just tremendous young men, and we want to see them happy.
So it's tough to do, especially coming in, new coach, putting your philosophy in with a young football team, So, like you said, I always tell people this: winning cures a lot of things.
Right.
I mean, if you can just get one and then
Sure.
get another one, then
Right.
you might get some momentum and bang.
And let me make this statement. I'm not using the old excuse we're young, because a lot of our kids played last year.
Yeah.
When I say young, I'm saying young in age.
Right.
We still have a lot of sophomores and juniors on the field. That's what I mean by young. We have some experience back. And, I'm not going to tilt my hand here on the game plan, but we're going to try some things to possibly try to be a little more explosive, and we'll see how it works. We got a lot of football to play, and I've had a few people say to me, "Well, how are you doing?" And to be quite frank with you, I mean, I don't like to lose, but I get up in the morning and go to school and get in the car, and I'm excited to go see the kids and be with the kids. This is a long process, and we're going to keep working with them, and we're going to keep caring about them. We're going to keep coaching them and coaching them hard, and someday we'll look back and we'll say, "Yeah, remember that rough patch?" But that day will come, I promise.
And it also helps build character. Always, people like to hear that. And I always said, as a coach, when I coach, I promise parents, I'm not going to promise you we're going to win every game.
Mm-hmm.
I will never. But I will promise you that the kids, hopefully if they listen and they work at what we are trying to teach them, that they will become not only better players, but hopefully better people, better.
Right.
And that's, part of the goal. And so I lead into, One of the things from, I know you're not happy with the loss.
Right.
But, I always look for the positives that, hey, we did this right. We did, like you said, special teams.
Special teams, we played smart, and I think we were smarter from a coaching standpoint. And I kind of have always been in charge of the special teams, so some of the mistakes we made week one, I put on my shoulders, and the kids really responded. I mentioned team speed may not be our greatest, and when you don't have great team speed, you really got to be careful on special teams. And I thought our kids did really well last week. I also think coming out of in the third quarter, our defense got a spark, and we made them. We put them in some tough situations. They fumbled once, and we pushed them back a little bit, and then we got some guys in after we got banged up, and we started moving the ball a little bit, not much, but we saw a few bright spots there, like I had mentioned.
Well, it's always nice because I tell people this all the time. People say, well, Central is a program in Ohio that people know about.
Mm-hmm.
There's not too many coaches that can put their hand up and say they have a state title, and Central is one of them.
Right. Right.
They got, so you're trying to build it back up to where it once was, and it's not snap your finger and boom, you're right back where you are.
Well, I think that one of the issues is, and I'm hearing the enrollment at the 4th and 5th and 6th grades pretty good, but when you look at there's no longer some of the feeder parochial elementary schools in Toronto and Mingo. Right. So now we need to get creative legally, and how we got to make sure that we're getting the enrollment in, just like all the small schools. And I will tell you that when you walk through those hallways, you can feel the tradition. You said we talked before. You can feel the culture of the school, and it's a very positive culture.
Right.
And, that's something that's very special, and we got to build upon that.
Yeah, it's funny because we had talked about, with Matt and other people that don't know, that, like, the Big Red Central rivalry was huge in Central, and, like, that was the game. That was
right.
But when you guys used to play, I'm like, oh, yeah, and they used to win.
Right.
And it's just the history and the atmosphere there is just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
With that, we're going to take our first break, Dan. When we come back, we'll talk about this week's opponent, the Wellsville Tigers. Listening to
Everhart Bove Funeral Home, they believe you should take care of your loved ones while you still can. Pre-planning at Everhart Bove ensures that your family won't have to worry about the stress of final arrangements during this most difficult time. More importantly, they won't have to worry about how they'll pay for it. Visit Everhart Bove Funeral Home today and discover all the affordable options available. Everhart Bove Funeral Home, Wintersville, Richmond, and Burgolds.
A pioneer of casual dining, Bennigan's is internationally known for its unique neighborhood vibe and exceptional chef-driven food. Come to Bennigan's on University Boulevard to stir up a great memory. Come for happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. and get $1 off draft and bottled beer and $1 off signature cocktails. Grab some bar bites too. Only $5 from 9 p.m. to close. Hey, are you a soccer fan? Check out the schedule of English Premier League soccer games. Bennigan's even has delivery service, and the number to call, 740-792-8080. You got a friend at Bennigan's.
This is Ohio Valley Sports Online, your connection to Ohio Valley sports. Listen anywhere in the world from any connected device, smartphone, tablets, iPads, and computers. Ohio Valley Sports Online brings you live game action from the guys with over 50 years in radio sports broadcasting.
How do you define strength? Is it physical? Or is it mental? Maybe it's both. Maybe it's whatever empowers a person to dig deeper, fight harder, and overcome obstacles that once seemed insurmountable. Discover how much stronger and more confident your children can be. Encourage them to participate in a sport when they go to high school.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
become a sponsor of this online sports broadcast? It's easy. Look us up on Facebook under Ohio Valley Sports Online. Drop us a message right on our wall or shoot us an email. More bang for your buck. Why? Because it's not radio. It's an online internet sports broadcast with unlimited and endless potential for you. Why settle for less when you can advertise with the best? Ohio Valley Sports Online.
And we're back here at Bennigan's for the Catholic Central Football Coaches Show. Coach Eric Meach. This portion of the show brought to you by our host, Bennigan's. Folks, come on down Wednesday night. Check out the show and have some great foods down here at Bennigan's. Coach, this week, Thursday night, at home, it's a blessing and a curse, would you say? I mean, you get the Wellsville Tigers, shortened week, but on TV, kids get a little bit of exposure.
Not on TV.
Not on TV.
Oh, no, it's on our TV. That's what I Yeah, it's on Ohio Valley Sports Online. Well, I mean, it's a blessing and a curse, wouldn't you say?
Well, it's always a blessing when you get to go out and compete. Hopefully it's a blessing because I got school. I'll be teaching about world history Friday morning at 7:30, and hopefully, of course, I would never, if I wasn't in a good mood, I'd never show it in my classroom because I love to teach. But no, hopefully I'm smiling Friday morning. But yeah, it's a late kickoff, 7:45, and we're excited about it. It was a short week. We had a lot of preparation over the weekend, and we had to really hustle and get our practices in. And we actually ran into, like everyone, that storm on Monday.
Right.
So we went down to Aquinas for about an hour, and then we got in the cars, went back up to the school, and we went out in the courtyard and got some stuff in. So we actually got, we actually got what we needed to get in Monday and Tuesday, and then today was a run through.
What does Wellsville bring to the table that frightens you? I know they have a good tailback.
Sure.
Toronto's played them, and I know Coach Frankie talked about the tailback. So he's got to be a pretty good player. And when Edison played him, we talked to Michael. He said he's a pretty good player.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what we're keying off, trying to stop him?
Yeah, he's pretty good, great house. He's a senior. The quarterback impresses me, too, his running ability. He's a real, just a tough kid. The other night I watched, he took off in the open field. He usually how a lot of quarterbacks will slide or go down. He ran head on to the safety and, fell forward. So, that's typical tough Wellsville kids. And, their numbers aren't great, but they're going to be a real scrappy opponent, a tough, hard-nosed team. And, they've lost to two really, really good football teams.
Yeah.
Two teams that we'll be facing later on in the year in Toronto and Edison. And I thought they played very hard in both games.
Now, size-wise, you said the numbers we talked about, always talk about. They're down a little bit, but are they, a bigger group?
They have some size up front, but like I said, what I notice is they get to the football pretty good. And, that's something that we need to really improve upon. And, we got to contain Great House, and he's not the only one. There's other guys as well. So, we'll see. I mean, we're hoping it's game 3 now. We got a few guys back that from coming back from injuries, and we got to. We just got to play, and the goal is to win and to get better.
Are they 50-50 run, or they lean run?
No, they'll run. They run the ball.
Okay.
Mm-hmm, sure.
Well, I know we were looking at the stat. I looked at the stats in the Toronto game, and even when they were down, they were still running it.
Sure.
So they're not going to get away from the run. Now, offensively for you guys, what are you going to try to do? I know it's really based off of Andrew. I know the first game we did, he had almost 100 yards rushing in the game. Are you going to try to spread them out, throw it around a little bit? Or?
We'll do. We have kind of two different scenarios there. We'll spread them out when we have to, and they've kind of shown multiple fronts defensively. So we're going to probably go multiple formations and see what they give us.
They you took my thunder. I was going to ask you defensively how do they line up, but you just said they do.
Yeah, they've done multiple things, and it could have been based on who they were playing. Toronto, and then they played that quarterback last week. Edison has, and So they've done some different things, but like I said, they'll get to the football, so we need to really be alert, and we need to pick up their fronts and their blitzes and play some fast physical football.
How is the offensive line coming for you guys? I know you guys were talking about earlier in the year. You got some new guys. You got Cody Carver at center. How is the offensive line progressing? Because that's the biggest key. You got to be able to block guys up front if you want to run it.
Well, we only have one senior, Willie Rao, who's now at offensive tackle. The rest of the guys are sophomores and juniors, and even at tight end, we're playing like three different guys at tight end right now. So, and they're all, Nico Petrella's a senior. The other guys are underclassmen. So, they're getting better. Coach Gillette and Coach Palmer are doing a great job with them. And we last week was kind of a tough week. But, we hopefully tomorrow night that we come out and are able to move the football a little better.
For the kids, and I know, like I said, it can be hectic to you, but do the kids like that one that, playing on a Thursday or, instead of Saturday, or no big deal?
I didn't ask him, and I'm sure if I would have, they would have said, Coach, we'll do whatever you want, because they're a very good group to coach. Like I said, I've said that for the last 3 weeks. They don't complain about anything, and they just, when I ask them to do something, they do it. So that's why I want so bad to see them excited and happy after the game, because I just really like these kids a lot.
But you said that a couple of times. This must be a pretty good group to be around.
Oh, and that's a credit again to their parents and the culture of the school. We took the kids to Elkhorn Valley for a leadership thing, and we practiced out there. And my wife's been, she came out to help cook. And when we got home, she said, well, now I know why you come home every day, March, April, May, June, July, and say, wow, these kids are so great. And, she said, now I understand. She said, because she said, never been thanked continuously, over a 20, 36-hour period. So, I want to see them happy. I want to see them successful. And part of life is, we all know we're all older guys that are kind of wise, I would hope. And, part of life is you got to jump hurdles and you got to have setbacks. And, kids don't understand that sometimes. But, we've all experienced setbacks in our lives, and it's a process. It's hard to be successful, and sometimes you got to take your lumps before it comes.
Let me ask the question. I asked it last year a lot now, because Ohio's a little bit different now, because 16 teams in each region make it. Is that a conversation that you have with the kids? I'm just throwing it out there. You start off to a slow start.
Not when you're 0-2.
I'm just saying, to keep say, hey, listen, if we can get a couple wins here, you're.
I'll give you an example. That Matthews is a good team. Their schedule's not real tough. I think they'll lose to Edison in a couple of weeks. That may be their only loss. In my mind, I was like, wow, if we could beat them in the opener, they're going to win a lot of games. And, that's going to really, with 16 teams. But, we lost, and, we talked, the score was kind of, if we would have made some plays, that who knows. But, right now we're 0-2, so, that's not even like we got to get some wins.
You're trying to get young kids, because young kids can drift off sometimes.
Right.
And you can say, listen, pull you back in here. If we can find a way to win Thursday, and maybe we're at the doorstep,
Right. Yeah. I remember back in the old days when I had some good teams at Wellsville, and we went 8-2, 7-3, when they took 4 teams, and there were only 6 divisions, and we ended, I think, in 8 years. Well, we got in the 1 year we beat Newark Catholic in the first round, but I think 6 out of the 8 years we were in the top 8 before they took 8. We were like 5th twice, 6th twice.
Oh, man.
In the 1 year we were 5th. We came behind Crooksville by a quarter of a point.
Yeah.
And our only loss, we were 9-1. Our only loss was to Lisbon, who won the state title.
Yeah, they beat
And-
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati Marymount.
Yep.
And, you know, the thing is back in those days, which wasn't too long ago, 20 years ago, it was really hard to get in the playoffs. I mean, a team goes 4-6 now, and they can get in. I don't. And the Ohio High School Football Coaches Association, believe it or not, was opposed to the expanded
I believe
playoffs.
it. I believe it. I think everybody except for the powers that be.
My thing with it, Coach, is the safety issue. You know, that's what I'm saying. We're talking on TV all the time about, head injuries. And then to win a state title, you got to win 16 football games.
Oh, and you got 16 against 1.
Yeah.
Now, 16 against 1 in the region.
That's not good.
Yeah, how many years ago was it? 5 years ago, we had a pretty good team at Toronto. We scored 444 points. Our defense was good. We had really good athletes.
Yeah.
And we ended up playing JFK, who won the state title, and we got beat 31-7 or something, and it was, and we were good.
Yeah.
Now, if I was a 16th ranked team,
Yeah.
I know if I was a basketball coach, and the school was ranked 16th going against 1, and it was a physical mismatch. It depends on the matchup.
Yeah.
A finesse team's different than just a team that's going to
pound you.
You're right, exactly. So, but so the high school coaches, I know for a fact, were against that, but it all came down to money.
Oh yeah, we agree with that.
We had the same conversation.
Right.
It's funny you brought that. I remember, like yesterday, it was a long time ago. Cincinnati Marymount was killing Lisbon at halftime.
Yeah, I was there. Jim Salimas is a very, very, very good friend. One of my closest friends in coaching. He's now at Carrollton.
Right.
And we had some real battles. We weren't as good of friends back in those days. We developed a great friendship years later. And my brother and him he's one of my brother's closest friends in the whole world. So, but yeah, I was at that game, and Lisbon was good. They beat us that year 20-6 week 3, and we wanted to play them again, but it just didn't happen.
I got a question that we'll end it with here. You are, like you said, you coached at Wellsville. You're very familiar with anybody from there giving you a little jousting for tomorrow night.
I'm going to tell you something about Wellsville. My wife says it all the time. Wellsville people are some of the most genuine people I've ever met. And, it's a community that my wife and I will always hold close to our heart. I taught there for 16 years at the high school. We lived there for 12, and I was the head football coach for 8, and I was the middle school athletic director a year. So when we went to scout Toronto the other 2 weeks ago, we actually were scouting Wellsville. They played Toronto. It was at Wellsville. Just so many people came up and, shook my hand, and just really good people. And, I'm looking forward tomorrow night to, going as a school that I have a tremendous amount of respect for. And, a lot of the people that are still working the school, I worked with, and, know many of the families very well.
Right. Well, Coach, we're going to wish you good luck. Folks,
Thank you.
Tune in tomorrow night. Ohio Valley Sports Online will bring you the Sewellville Central game versus the Wellsville Tigers starting at 7:45. Coach Eric Meat, thank you. Good luck. And next week, we're talking about victorious win on our show next Wednesday night.
Okay, thank you. You guys have a good night. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for following us at Ohio Valley Sports Online. Why not visit our webpage at OhioValleySportsOnline.com. It's the way to go for sports fans around the globe to follow your favorite local sports teams. Want to become a sponsor of this online sports broadcast? It's easy. Look us up on Facebook under Ohio Valley Sports Online. Drop us a message right on our wall or shoot us an email. More bang for your buck. Why? Because it's not radio. It's an online internet sports broadcast with unlimited and endless potential for you. Why settle for less when you can advertise with the best? Ohio Valley Sports Online.
Being a teenager is tough. There's the constant pressure to be liked.
Endless worrying about college.
Cyberbullying, high expectations, all the negativity.
There's no question. Being a teenager is tough. And what do Ohio's teens do when they want to block out the noise and clear their heads?
We play!
Yeah! Research shows that teenagers who participate in high school sports have lower stress levels, more confidence, and greater self-esteem. And then there's the biggest benefit of all.
High school sports are fun.
Not just fun.
They're a lot of fun.
Encourage your teenagers to participate in a sport or activity when they go to high school. They'll stress less and smile more. And they'll be laying the foundation for a happier, healthier future.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
This high school event is brought to you by AT&T on Sunset via the AT&T Wireless Network. Remember, don't text and drive. It can wait. AT&T on Sunset is a proud sponsor of this high school event.
Meet Josh.
Hi, everybody.
Josh is a high school basketball player, solid shooter, great teammate.
Hey, don't forget my Tenacious D.
And he's my son.
Uh-huh.
So, what does Josh do to be the best basketball player he can be?
I play tennis.
Studies show that student athletes here in Ohio who play more than one high school sport are more likely to excel. Tennis does more than improve Josh's conditioning. It gives him a fresh competitive outlet, reduces the risk of injury by cross-training, and introduces him to different coaching techniques and new friends.
Don't get me wrong, hoops are my first love. Tennis just gives me a little break.
So when the new season begins, Josh isn't burned out on basketball. He's eager to play, and you can see the difference in his game.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Want to become a sponsor of this online sports broadcast? It's easy. Look us up on Facebook under Ohio Valley Sports Online. Drop us a message right on our wall or shoot us an email. More bang for your buck. Why? Because it's not radio. It's an online internet sports broadcast with unlimited and endless potential for you. Why settle for less when you can advertise with the best? Ohio Valley Sports Online.
Back here at Bennigan's. Here, Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show. We get a special treat. My man, Coach Mike Hollopy from Henderson Wildcats.
Jace, how you doing?
Good, good. Glad. Always a pleasure having you here, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
Another great Friday night. Big victory. You know, over a team that you're familiar with, over a tough team. You know, for everything I've heard about them, that they're a physical, hard-nosed team, and you guys pretty much, took them to the woodshed, wouldn't you say?
Well, to answer your question, or to go back off of your statement, they're very Wellsville last week, very physical, hard-nosed, and a really good athlete. They like to move around. And Isaiah Greathouse. I thought our kids played really hard. There's still a lot of things that we have to clean up as coaches, but obviously, from that standpoint, that's all things that we can coach. The effort, energy, has been there, and we're looking to continue it on.
And, let's just go right into the game. Tell me something, what were you pleased with offensively? Because you were able to put up, a nice amount of points again. And, what were the things that you saw in the game that, okay, hey, this is working, we can do this, and, for you to be able to just control the game like that?
Well, they came out in a different defensive front that, we were preparing for a couple different defensive fronts, and they came out in a different look. and our coaches, our offensive line coaches made some really good adjustments. Coach Fogel, Coach Marcino, Coach Evans. And, once we communicated that to the players, they were able to, make the adjustments, on the field. And I thought we were able to run the ball after that. I was really, really happy with that. Until we were able to run the ball, we threw it. I thought that our receivers ran good routes. I thought Gage made good reads. And our O-line gave them good pass pro.
It's great having a quarterback like Gage that has a cannon, but I'm also equally impressed with I call it, you guys have a two-headed, now almost three-headed monster with McClurg and Eisnagel, and then the jet kid. At any time, either one of them can take over. Back there when needed.
We have really good depth at running back, and we're really happy with all three of them. And Hayden Russell's another one.
Yes,
we have guys that, they're all team players, and obviously, as an offense, there's one football. So you got to try to spread it around as much as you can, and each of them do a little bit something differently that adds a different wrinkle to it. And like I said, our offensive line, they're blue-collar guys that just work hard every day. And, up front, I think one of the things that we improved upon from the year before is I think we've gotten stronger. We had some guys that we graduated for linemen last year, so it's always a worry. Our center was back, so that's always a positive. That's a tough position. You have to make calls, and obviously, there's two things that you have to be able to do. You got to be able to snap it, and you got to be able to block. So we were able to bring in. We had two guys that returned that played a lot last year. Our right tackle, Jamison Styles, and our left guard, Joey Simpson. So as far as those two positions went, we felt very strongly about that. And Ashton Ellis has stepped in at right guard and has done a really good job. And our left tackle is a sophomore, Zach Kuntz, who's extremely intelligent. We feel like he gets better every practice. And those guys working in a unit has been outstanding. We have another couple guys. Tyler Mattern is another tackle, and Bubba Thompson is a guard. That the coaches do a really good job of working those guys in, because you never know. Football's a sport where you're going to be injured more than any other sport. So you have to be prepared for for anything to happen, especially with an injury.
Especially on the offensive line. Billy said it earlier. You can have all the skilled people that you want, but great coaches great, and anybody knows the game's won. That offensive and defensive line.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. The offensive linemen, and I'm kind of biased towards them because, in the paper, on the news, you see all the guys that, that are scoring the touchdowns. But, as we told them, and you hit the nail on the head, the game is won and lost up front on both sides of the ball. And those guys, although they don't get any credit, I feel like we as coaches, and I think the players, the skill guys, I think they understand their importance and they appreciate all the work that they do. Like I said, it's a really thankless job. Unless you're really screwing up and the quarterback's getting sacked or the running back's getting tackled for a loss, nobody knows what's going on in there.
Unless you're getting called for holding, or no one thinks. And it's funny because one of the coaches on our show, I remember being in junior high school playing for this coach.
Okay.
And this was one of my favorite.
I think I know who you're talking about.
One of my favorite stories ever.
Yeah.
He says, he tells our center, "You haven't blocked in 3 plays at practice." He goes, "I'm going to show you what happens when you don't block your man." He goes, "Line up a tailback. Only made 28 sweep, 28 power toss." He goes, "Wait a minute, offensive line, get off the field." So it was the entire defense. Our center was playing tailback. So he pitches the ball to defense tackle. He goes, "That's what happens when you don't block your man."
Yeah.
And so, like I said, the line doesn't get the credit. You wouldn't get those 180, 190 yards or 300-yard passing games, without your offensive line.
Yeah, that's all facts. It's just the offensive line is the most important part of the offense, and obviously the defensive line is the most important part of the defense. Not that there's, obviously
away from anything.
Yeah,
right.
There's, defense is more, it's more, you have to play as a team. You have to be extremely physical. You have to be sound. You can't just go rogue and do your own thing.
Right.
Everybody has a gap for run. The run fits have to be there. You can't just do your own thing. And coverages, it's the same thing. You can't just, try to do something that you're not supposed to do because that's what it looks like the play entails. And like I said, it's just, the offensive line, if I'm going to walk around and watch practice,
absolutely.
and get involved in, offensively, Coach AP laughs at me. He tells me I don't really listen to him and know what's going on. I know what's going on, but, I'm more interested in what's going on up front.
Right.
So.
And, speaking of defense, you guys so far 2 great games on the defense. I think 1 touchdown against the first opponent, Southern. And then last week you pitched a shutout against. Well, you guys just, what's been the key to your success?
Well, I think we've been getting to the football. Defense is a lot of desire and wanting to do it. It's a different mindset. Not everybody has a defensive mindset. We're happy with the effort. There's a lot of things fundamentally, that we're trying to clean up as coaches. We see it. It's, things that, like I think it was Coach Tressel used to say, you're either coaching it or allowing it. And, either one's no good. So we're working on stances, alignments, just things that, may not seem major right now, but they all lead to bigger things. So we'll continue to work hard. This week is a huge challenge for us. Toledo Woodward, they have some size, they have some speed. Their defense gets off the football. I mean, they get off the ball. They're extremely aggressive. They gang tackle. They had 2 tough opponents to start the season off. They started off with Sandusky Perkins, which is a ranked Division IV team, and then last week was Bishop Reed out of Columbus, is an outstanding program, perennial playoff team, and they're 0-2, but as far as their talent, they have a left tackle that's 6'7", 300 and some pounds. Yeah, he's definitely a Division I prospect and getting looks. Their quarterback is, to this point, probably the best athlete we've seen. We as coaches have been around. Don't want to say our age or anything, but we've been around a little bit, and I don't know that I've seen a quarterback this dynamic. He's got the combination of speed and elusiveness. He's really, really quick. He can take a 5-yard loss and turn it into a 10-yard gain. So it's, there's a lot to prepare for. They have a couple running backs that are nice sized. It's an element that we have not seen yet, which is good because, obviously, you want to prepare for every team, and every team brings something differently, and I think it's really going to, test us this Saturday for sure.
And that's one thing, to just, bouncing with that Coach Sack is always, you ask him about his schedule, and he says, I want to play somebody where we're going to see anything you could possibly see every different week, so that when we're in the playoffs, we've seen that already, and that's what sounds like you guys are doing. Are they a big team, or that
They have a good combination of size and speed, and the thing that's the scary thing is, coach. Anybody that coaches know there's there's sleepless nights. You're worrying about things, and no matter how prepared you are, you always feel like you're not prepared enough. But their quarterback poses major threats with running the ball. I mean, he's a major threat. We went and saw them play Perkins, and I couldn't believe, he has breakaway speed. He returned a kickoff for a touchdown. But he's very cut on a dime type of kid, and if we don't surround him, we're going to be in trouble. Like I said, all he needs is a little seam, and he's going to take it 80 yards or 50, whatever, the distance is. I mean, he's going to take it to the house. And then defensively, the things that we saw that was concerning was, their defensive line gets off the ball, they pursue the ball, and they have speed all over the place. So anytime you're facing a team with speed like that, it puts you in a position where, you have to, prepare the best you can. And like I said, I don't know that, to this point, this is the fastest team we've seen. And I know there's some teams at the later part of the schedule, that have a lot of speed. But these guys can run.
Well, sometimes they say your best defense is a good offense, keeping that defense off the field, and if I know one thing, you will have them prepared and ready to go. Tell me about the.
We'll see.
Oh yeah.
What'd you say?
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
have it prepared for you,
Yeah.
Coach AP, Frankie. You guys will be ready.
We had a good practice today, but as I told the kids, I mean, once we were done, practice today is over, and a good practice one day doesn't mean anything if you go out and lay an egg, tomorrow. So we have to come out with the same mindset, same attention to detail. Everybody's on task. I'm really happy with our practice tempo. I think our practice tempo has been really good. You don't want to have a lot of lulls in practice. Game's going to be fast, so you want to practice fast so the game slows down. And that's a credit to our assistant coaches, our scout team on both sides of the ball have done a really good job. Coach Marcus was their quarterback today, Sims, number 9, and he still has it. He's moving around. Yeah, a couple of our guys tackled him. We told him not to tackle him, but it was just one of those situations where I think he cut back into him. And
they loved it.
Oh, yeah. Our coaches were kind of like, ooh. But no, I mean, it's, we're you're never completely happy. There's always things that you got to work on, and I think once you get satisfied, the present hits you right in the face. We're not looking back, we're not looking forward. We're just kind of concentrating on, like right now, as soon as I go home, practice, we've already have practice planned out, but you start thinking about, what you want to do, the things you want to continue to emphasize, and you get excited about the next day.
And I got to ask you, Saturday the 1 o'clock start was
Mhm.
probably, obviously because of the distance.
Yeah.
But does that help you hinder, that Friday? You do have anything planned? Does it hinder you to getting out of your weekly routine? Yes.
Well, first off, it's not like there's an advantage other than they're traveling and we're not, but it's the same circumstances for both teams.
Right.
We just adjust the schedule based off of whenever we play. So we have a set schedule that we use. Obviously it changes per opponent and what you're working on. But everything either moves up or moves back, and you just prepare accordingly, and kind of just old phrase, you play the hands you're dealt, and the schedule is the schedule, and we'll play the game when we're supposed to. We'll prepare the best we can and go out and give it our best shot.
Yeah, because you may get an extra day to do it, but then on the backside of that, you got a
Right.
shorter week next week.
Yeah, well, we play on we have 2 Saturday
okay.
games.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I
So it's
didn't
back
know
to
that.
back.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you played Matthews, I believe, at Lakeview.
Lakeview.
Okay,
Yeah. Like I said, I don't get too wrapped up in
just play what's dealt.
Just play, yeah, because you start getting into making excuses, and then
right.
like Coach
Right.
Bain used to say, excuses are like what. Yeah. So like I said, I'm not big on excuses or setting yourself up. Like I said, we've had good practice today, and we're just prepared to go out and have another good one tomorrow.
Well, hopefully, Coach, things go your way. Saturday afternoon, we'll be rooting for you. Listen to, we were with Coach Mike Colopy, Edison Wildcats here on Ohio Valley Sports Online. We'll go ahead and wrap it up, Coach. Let you get up. I know you
Sounds good.
did
My wife
home
made
practice.
dinner. If I don't go home and eat it, I'll be
yeah.
sleeping outside on the deck. So
Tell her next week, send us some. We like.
I will. She made some. I think she made stuffed shells. So,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, I'm a lucky guy. She's
Yeah,
a very good cook.
She's a battle. Yeah.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you, folks,
All
for
right.
tuning in. Thank you, Coach Colopy.
Thanks
Good
for
luck
having me.
Saturday.
Good seeing you. Yep.
Folks,
Take
we're going
care.
to wrap it up here at Bennigan's Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show. Tune in tomorrow night as we'll be at Harding Stadium. The Wellsville Tigers are coming in on Steubenville Catholic Central Crusaders. Then Friday, tentatively, we will be at Weir High. John Marshall at the Weir High Red Riders. And then Saturday morning, 11 o'clock, Harding Stadium, DC Coolidge against Steubenville Big Red. For Jimmy McWilson, Dan Vogel, Ray Sakos, Bill Ellis, Sean Tucker, Tim Jaggers, Huggins, myself, Jason Jenkins. Have a good evening, everybody.